Hi friends, it has been way too long since I have gotten to say that to you. It has been a wild couple of weeks, months. It's been like a month and a half since my last video. I apologize. Wasn't intentional. It was a little too much, a little too much going on. But as you guys saw from the title of this video, I quit my 9 to 5, which is incredibly exciting. It's scary and thrilling and yeah, all the things. It's all the things. I feel like when people see this, they didn't always see all of the backstory and all of the everything that has gone into where we are now and stuff like that. It's kind of like jumping into a show like on season 5 or whatever, and you're just like, wait, what? And it kind of seems like the characters have all gotten where they are overnight because you jumped in on season 5. So I'm gonna kind of go back to the beginning a little bit and just kind of talk about the journey so far and everything like that. This is kind of like a milestone for me to kind of pause and reflect on, where we've been over the past 4 years now, 3 to 4 years now. And yeah, just kind of look back at all we've done so far. So this was definitely not an overnight thing, definitely not an overnight success or anything like that. So if you're looking for that story, it's not here. It has been close to 4 years now, I think. I started making candles in 2020. I didn't actually officially launch my business until 2021. I took like a good 8 or 9 months or so, somewhere in there, to really test out my candles, test my formulas, test my waxes, test all the things, as you know, if you've started a candle business, all that goes into it, all the testing, all the craziness and stuff like that. And even then I still didn't feel ready, but I kind of just got to a point where I was like, you know what? We gotta do it sometime. We gotta just make the jump. And so that's what I did. So finally in like April, I think it was I always forget if it's the end of March or the end of April, but one of those, I believe it was the end of April, I launched my business in 2021, the end of April 2021. That whole year, me and my now wife were also planning our wedding. At the time we were engaged, we got engaged February 2021, so just a little bit before I had launched the business and everything. And so, that whole first year we were planning our wedding, just getting married and stuff like that. And so there was a lot that I couldn't do, like just because we just didn't have the time. We both had full-time jobs and stuff like that. I had the full-time job, was working on the candle business while also helping plan our wedding and stuff like that. And so it was just a lot. And so, the first year we did pretty well, but not, nearly as well as we could have, and stuff. I think we did as well as we could for the first year of a business. We did better than I expected. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. And so we did quite a bit better. I can't remember exactly what we made or whatever. I have a video about it, I think, from a while back, but yeah, I can't remember exactly how much we made the first year or anything like that, but yeah, wasn't crazy. Definitely wasn't quit your job money or anything like that. 2022, we were married and everything like that, and so we could do a little bit more, so I started signing up specifically for events and stuff like that. Started getting into, just quite a bit more events. We did quite a few events that year in 2022. I can't remember exactly how many, but quite a few events. Started getting into that and trying to get those kind of repeat customers and everything from those events and everything. And then did a lot better. I think we nearly tripled like what we had made from the first year in 2022. So, which is just crazy. And then last year we actually kind of went all in on events because I was like, all right, well, if we did events and, we nearly tripled our income from the first year, that must be what changed or whatever. And so we're just going to go all in on events. And we only did like one or two events every month or so, like on average. There were some months where we didn't have any events or whatever, and then some where we do like 2 or 3 or more. And so we definitely did, I can't remember exactly how many. And so, but that was really all that we could do because we're both working full time. Like, it was just too much to try and do like an event every week. I know some people do that, and more power to you. But it was too much for us to try and do one every week because, juggling full-time jobs and just everything that goes into running a business and stuff. It was just too much for me and too much to ask of my wife, who, technically she's not even really like a part of the business. Like, she is because she helps out with events and stuff like that. But other than that, like, she's not really a part of the business too much and stuff. And so, but I just felt bad asking her to do that, a lot and stuff. And so, and it was too much for me too. Like, it was just way too much, honestly. And even with going and doing, so many more events that year, I think we did like triple the amount of events that year that we did the year before or whatever, or maybe not triple, but I don't know. We did a lot more events in 2023 than we did in 2022. And so, and sadly, like, if you guys watched my previous video, we just, we still made a little bit more than we had in 2022, but not nearly. Like, there was not that big of a difference at all from 2022 to 2023. I think it was like literally less than $1,000 or something like that, more like than what we had made the previous year. So yeah, just really not super great, not really worth it for the amount of events and stuff that we did. And honestly, most of what we made from events and online and just in general, most of what we made in 2023, like the amount of money that we made in 2023, I would say probably 60 to 70% of that money, like rough estimate, not exact numbers or anything, but I'd say probably 60 to 70% of what we made all of 2023 came from the last 3 to 4 months of the year, which isn't super abnormal. You do make a ton of money during the holidays and stuff like that. Q4 and really even a little bit the end of Q3 and stuff like that are really like candle season. It is like, it's the best time for candle makers and stuff specifically. Really all small businesses, but it's a really, really good time for candle businesses, especially because it's getting colder. Everyone wants to burn candles and stuff like that because they're, stuck inside and stuff. And so, end of Q3, beginning and all through Q4 and all that are just the best time, as most of you know, for candle makers. And so we made probably 60 to 70% of what we made the entire year in those last 3 to 4 months of the year, which is insane. So now kind of breaking it down to 2024. So the end of 2023, like I said, we made most of a good portion of our money, over half of what we made for the entire year, in those last 3 to 4 months. And keep in mind, again, then I was still working full time as well. And it was too much. Honestly, it was too much. I mean, I did it, I suffered through, but it was a lot. And it definitely, like, I was exhausted every day. Like, I'd be sitting at my desk at work and I'd like start kind of, nodding off a little now and then. And like even driving to work sometimes was probably not a good idea, because I'd literally like be sitting in a traffic light or something and I'd start kind of like, ooh, my eyes would get heavy and, definitely not safe, definitely not good, not, yeah. And so come January of this year, 2024, I felt like I had hit, like I had realized that that was as far as I could go, and that was the most amount of money my business could make if we continued that situation, if that makes sense. So like where we were at in those season stuff, if I stayed at my job, that was it. That was the peak. That was like the most I could handle. I couldn't do any more, because it was just too much. And to be honest, even doing that with my full-time job, it was too much. I couldn't sustain that for a long period of time. I could do it for 3 to 4 months, not in a healthy way, really. I wouldn't recommend it. I was probably working 80 plus hour weeks altogether between my full-time job and doing the candle business and stuff. Do not recommend that. Not a good time at all. So yeah, it was just too much. And so come January, me and my wife kind of had a conversation. I was like, I can't do that again. I can't, like, I was like, so either the business is done or I have to quit my job before the end of the year. Because I just I can't do that again. It was too much. And it wasn't healthy. And so we really kind of talked, we always kind of knew, like, this has always kind of been a plan, was for me to eventually leave my job. We didn't quite know when that would be or anything like that, or what that would look like. And obviously, like, you never, like, I don't know if you ever really fully feel ready for that, as far as like financially and stuff like that. Or at least, you know, I don't know if I ever did. I mean, definitely, like, physically, mentally, everything else, yes. But financially, you know, it was kind of like, I don't know. And so in January, we kind of like talked over and set up kind of a plan that I wouldn't leave right away, but that I would work basically the rest of the year until we got to the end of August, which is really kind of when it starts ramping up and stuff, like busy season. It starts getting pretty crazy and everything. And so we were kind of like, all right, so end of August, I will be leaving my job and stuff. And we did actually, I had an amazing employer and stuff like that. They were really understanding, really, and they were fully supportive of my business and stuff, and they kind of knew that was coming, and stuff. And so we actually did go ahead and tell them in January. Like, we didn't wait until, you know, we didn't wait all the way till August and give them a 2-week notice. I gave them an 8-month notice. Also because I just knew that it was going to be kind of hard to find a replacement for me, because it is a nonprofit. We don't make a lot of money, and the job that I do, like, is a job that, like, at other places you can make a decent amount of money, and stuff like that, communications, marketing, all of that. And stuff. And so it's kind of hard to find replacements for a job, you know, because of how little they pay and stuff like that, because they are a nonprofit. All that to say, we wanted to give them plenty of time to find a replacement and everything, as well as I wanted time to kind of save up money and stuff, or save up more money. So before we even decided that August would be, you know, my last month with my current job and everything, we had already paid off all of our debt and stuff like that, and we had started saving, but definitely wanted to add more to that and everything, and wanted more time to add some cushion to our savings, just in case, you know, there's, you know, ever, you know, a bad month or anything like that. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we had plenty of money and savings and stuff to kind of help with that and stuff. And so literally the week that I told my boss that I, you know, was going to be leaving, August 29th was going to be my last day. And also, we also decided that we were doing fine, well enough, the business was doing well enough for me to go ahead and take, instead of working 5 days a week, I would be working 4 days a week from then on. And so, and my boss was also okay with that, which was great. And that allowed me to also spend more time working on my business and stuff. Now, this is when it gets a little crazy. The same week that I told my boss that, hey, like, you know, end of August gonna be my last time, things just kind of took off. Like, January had slowed down quite a bit, just like it normally does every year. But then it shot right back up in, like, from, I would say, end of January-ish to beginning of February. It just kind of got crazy all over again. Literally the same week that we had I had the conversation with my boss and, you know, decided I was going to pull back to 4 days a week rather than 5. Everything just kind of took off again, like as if we were right back to busy season. And I'm not joking. Like, maybe I'll do another video where I like break down all the numbers and stuff or whatever. But we were literally doing about the same in sales as we were doing all through like last fall, fall through Christmas and stuff like that. Or at least, you know, really, really close to that, and stuff. And so it just got really crazy, and it's kind of been crazy all year long. And so thankfully, like, I'm really glad that we decided to go ahead and pull back to 4 days a week rather than 5, because that like saved me and saved my sanity for this year. Because I don't think that, like, had I stayed working 5 days a week or whatever, I just don't think that I don't know that I would have been able to make it to August. I probably would have had to leave sooner, or, you know, whatever. And so it would have, which, I mean, ultimately I think it would have been okay, but, you know, it's still one of those things, like, I want to, you know, fulfill what I've said I was going to do, even if it's a really big hassle for me and stuff like that. You know, if I said I was going to stay till the end of August, I want to be there till the end of August. And so, yeah, it would have been crazy if I tried to stay, you know, 5 days a week and stuff like that. And so it has been crazy, pretty crazy, like close to busy season levels of crazy pretty much all year long. I think maybe the only month that we got a little bit of a break was like July. It kind of sloped down a little bit. I was looking at the numbers, and the sales from this year, this July, July was like one of our slower months. I think it was maybe our slowest month so far this year, but we still, July of this year made like 2 to 3 times more than we made of July of last year, at least. I can't remember the exact, like I said, not exact numbers, but yeah, like still made tremendously more than we made last year. And so it just, yeah, even though it was like a slower month for our new normal or whatever, it was still a really good month for us and stuff comparatively to previous years and stuff. And so it's just been a wild, crazy year. So I was watching this this video from Bria Jones, like back, it was probably like November, December of last year that I was watching this, but she said something, I can't remember exactly how she worded it, but it was something along the lines of like, if you aren't in a place where you'll be able to handle a certain blessing or a certain thing that you've been asking for or been, you know, praying for, or, you know, whatever it is, if you're not in a place where you can handle the blessing, then you're not going to be able to receive the blessing, because it wouldn't be a blessing, it would be a curse. And so essentially, like, yeah, just along the lines of like, if you're not in a place to be able to receive the blessing, then you're not going to get that blessing until you are in a place to where you can receive that. And I think that that's so true. And like, I think that's exactly what happened. You know, I wasn't in a place, like, we kind of slowed way down in January, and I was a little like, ooh, are we sure we want to, you know, are we sure this is what we want to do? But I needed that break. I desperately needed that break, because it was a little too much. And so I was kind of glad that it had slowed way down, but also, you know, a little like that was when we were starting to talk about like, hey, I might need to leave my job sooner than we thought, and stuff. And so it was, even though we couldn't see it, we couldn't, you know, physically see that like this, you know, makes sense right now or whatever, it once we kind of finally made that decision and, you know, I talked to my boss about it and things just kind of, you know, because I had more time because I was able to, you know, take that extra day off and work on my business more, and everything like that, things just kind of really blew up from there because I was in a place that I could receive that and stuff, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I just think that that's really true and really, like, that's been something that has, like, resonated with me, like, throughout this whole year. And yeah, I just think that sometimes you have to situate yourself or your life, to a way that you'll be able to actually be able to receive what you want or what you're asking for before it can come. Something that's really cool is that, like, this year, you know, I was slightly worried in the beginning of the year, but like I said, since it has taken off, like, it has just been such a crazy year. We've already surpassed, we're not even fully in busy season yet. It's like September, very, very, very beginning of September. I think it's like September 2nd or 3rd right now. And so we're like very early stages of September of kind of busy season and stuff like that. It has definitely started ramping up even more than usual, but yeah, and we're not even fully into busy season yet, but we've already surpassed what we made all of last year. So like I said, we made like 60 to 65% of what we made all of last year, was made in the last quarter, the last 3 to 4 months of the year. And this year we've already surpassed what we made for the entire year, which is insane, and stuff. And so I just know that these next 3 to 4 months are going to be really crazy busy, as well and stuff. And so, yeah, it's just been such a wild, crazy time. And, I am so blessed that I'm able to, leave my job. I was able to, you know, have a workplace that thankfully, you know, has been so supportive and everything like that, and has supported this dream of mine. They've been really great and stuff, but it did kind of, you know, feel like it was time to move on and stuff like that. And so I have always dreamed of this moment of being able to run my business full time. Even when I was a little kid, like back when I was a little kid, all of my dream jobs were like jobs where I was running things, or I was the owner or whatever. Like I wanted to own my own restaurant or my own bakery, or for a long time I wanted to run my own photography business or things like that. Like it's always been about kind of like me owning my own business and stuff, like I said, even back when I was a kid. And so it's kind of crazy to me that like I feel like we're finally there. And it is, you know, like I said, it is scary. It's, you know, it's kind of scary when you go from having like a, you know, a semi safety net of a, you know, of an every 2 weeks or whatever you get a paycheck and stuff, to running your own business. And like you're like, oh, if I don't make money, I don't know how we're gonna survive. You know, but thankfully, like I said, like we, you know, have not had to worry at all about that this year and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just a crazy time, and I'm just so thrilled that we made it here and that it's finally here. It finally feels like a huge dream of mine is, you know, has finally come true. But if you have listened to me ramble on for this long, about dreams and all the things that I love talking about, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to me. I am super thrilled now that since I'm doing this full time, I will be able to do more YouTube videos, be able to hang out with you guys more, and everything like that. I don't know what the next few months are gonna look like, as far as, you know, getting into busy season and stuff. So I'm hoping that I will still be able to do, or that I'll be able to go back to doing weekly uploads and stuff. But I'm gonna give myself a lot of grace because I just, like I said, we've had so much incredible, crazy growth this year that like I just don't want to I don't want to like make any promises and then have to be like, oh, sorry, it got crazy again. So couldn't keep that promise. But yeah, hoping to be here more often and stuff. Every week and everything, but we'll kind of see what it looks like the next few months and stuff as I figure out our new normal and everything like that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you guys would like to continue hanging out, there's going to be some other videos that pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.